This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the Bottom Feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to do something a little unusual. I'm going to compare a pool service business with working a W-2 job, which is working for an employer, maybe at an office or doing something else of that nature. And is a self-employed pool service job better and more lucrative than getting a monthly paycheck or paid every 2 weeks? I guess that's what happens nowadays. Getting a paycheck versus being self-employed out there. Join my coaching program and take your pool service to the next level. Connect with other pool pros in your area, gain valuable knowledge, and transform your business with personalized one-on-one advice from me. With over 36 years of experience, I'm here to help you succeed like never before. Learn more at poolguycoaching.com. You can tell I haven't gotten a paycheck in a while. I don't even know how often people are paid anymore, but I think it is every 2 weeks in most businesses. When most people talk about being self-employed, they don't really compare it or contrast it with a W-2 job. Now, what is a W-2 job? Well, this is a job where you're working for a company, you're getting a steady paycheck, you have your set schedule, you may have a 401k retirement plan or something similar, or a pension, and you may have other benefits like paid time off and medical coverage or a discount on your policy for medical or health insurance, I should say. That's probably a better way of phrasing it. So these are something that I think we should definitely contrast and compare to when we're talking about the cost of business. Now, there is something to be said about being self-employed, of course. There are built-in benefits. Of course, you have the freedom and flexibility of setting your own hours, doing your own work, but you don't have that safety net of having a paid job or job security with a salaried income. You also don't have some of the benefits like retirement or your health insurance being paid for by the company. But on the plus side, you can set your margins so that your rate covers your health insurance premium as well as money to invest for retirement. But the freedom of self-employment does come with some of those downsides, which is, of course, what I mentioned here. And, of course, you can scale your business more as being self-employed than working a W-2 job. You can't really scale a W-2 job. You can work 2 jobs and work 80 hours a week, but that's not scaling. That's kind of working yourself to death, in my opinion, and it's something that you can't do long-term. So, you can't work 80 hours a week long-term. You're going to scale your income. You're going to double it. But when I talk about scaling, I'm talking about working the same amount of hours, but increasing your income by bringing on employees or doing other things that are going to actually scale your business without you putting more hours into the business, if that makes sense. So let's break this down a little bit, and I'm going to go through, this is something that I think would be helpful if I compare a W-2 income to a self-employed income, and you can see the benefits and the amount of profit you can make with being self-employed versus a W-2 job. Let's just say, for sake of argument, both are bringing in $80,000 a year in revenue. One is salaried and one is $80,000 in revenue from the pool service income. So after payroll taxes, this is W-2, $80,000 salary. So after payroll taxes, Social Security, which your employer covers half of that, Social Security and the Medicare, the federal and state taxes are withheld automatically. So your net take-home pay is approximately $60,000 to $65,000 a year, I would say. For self-employment, you pay the 15.3% tax there. And then you have your income tax. Then you have, of course, your business deductions, which can be substantial, your mileage and your equipment, your supplies, things like that. Insurance, advertisement, anything that you're paying for is deducted. So your net take-home pay is going to be higher because you're going to have all these deductions and you'll have a lower taxable income. So I would say that if your net take-home pay for being self-employed is $60,000, your net take-home pay for being self-employed is somewhere around $70,000, just give or take a little bit based on having a lower taxable income and being in a lower tax bracket. So right there, you're making more money, not substantially more money, maybe $800 more a month than if you were making $80,000 at a business. So I say it's pretty much a wash at that point. There's not really much of an advantage unless you're scaling your business a lot higher than that, than a W-2 job paying you that much money. So here's the other category that you want to consider are the benefits. So most W-2 jobs will have some kind of health insurance coverage, retirement plan, a 401k matching plan sometimes. They don't really match 100% anymore. I don't think anyone does that. You get paid time off, vacation, sick days, and holidays. And some of these are really lucrative with their paid time off. And you also get workers' compensation and unemployment benefits, which you don't have when you're self-employed. You don't have the health insurance coverage, the retirement plan, no real paid time off, but you build that into your service. And there's different ways of building in your time off in a service business. And you have your write-offs, which can really offset your income. But for stability and benefits, the W-2 job, of course, is better than self-employed at this point. So right now, being a W-2 employee is winning 2 out of the 2 categories. But don't give up hope yet. I'm still going to give the self-employed folks out there some advantages here. So let's talk about job security and work and life balance. This is a big reason why a lot of people go into the pool service industry. Their work and life balance is really not balanced. They're spending more time at work and less time with the family. They don't have the flexibility to get out to go see for a parent conference meeting, or to get out early enough to see your kids play Little League or soccer, or maybe have a recital. And sometimes you're working weekends, which is a nice benefit of the pool service industry. You don't have to work Saturdays, and you shouldn't be working Sundays unless you want to. So you're off on Saturday and Sunday, which is really ideal a lot of times for family time and events. So let's break this down a little bit. So of course, the W-2 job has a stable income, but the job security is not always as strong as you think it is. The economy may be a factor. There's a stress level working for somebody that I think is higher than being self-employed. Of course, being self-employed, you have to worry about money coming in and losing clients and things like that. But I don't think it's as stressful as working in a W-2 job setting for somebody else, in an office or, selling cars or doing something like that. And you have very limited control over your schedule. The company usually sets the schedule. You don't have much choice but to go to work Monday through Friday or work on the weekends if that's required. So that's something that the self-employed has a definite advantage over, because you can set your own hours and you're very flexible. And then part of the self-employment, I think, with work-life balance is the scalability. Here's where being self-employed wins 100 out of 100 times, because you can scale your pool service business. You can't scale your job at, let's say you're working for Nestle's, you're working in the corporate office and you're in charge of, event planning. I'm just picking something random. And so you're in charge of the event planning for the company. You work Monday through Friday. Sometimes you're working Saturdays when you have the event, or at nighttime when the event is being there. And you really don't have a way of scaling that. Now, if you were an event coordinator and you had your own business, you can do weddings, you can do birthday parties, you can do a lot to scale that. You can bring on employees and have 2 crews working out there. I guess I did pick a pretty good thing randomly there. And then you can scale that and really double and triple your income. Well, that's kind of like pool service, where you can bring on an employee and reap maybe 40% more profit if you do it correctly. Bring on 2 employees and reap another 40% more in profit, and you're still working the same hours. So how does this look? Well, you're doing 60 pools a week, let's say. You bring on an employee that does 50 pools, and then another employee that does another 50. So you've taken your pool route from 60 pools to 160 pools, but you're still only working the 35 or 40 hours a week. So if you essentially scaled your business over 100% at that point. So let me give you the math on this and show you why no matter what categories working for a company wins, the scalability category always wins out when you're self-employed. So let's take the $80,000 income that you make doing your pool service route. You bring on 2 employees, and let's just be conservative and say that your net profit after paying the employees, paying for supplies, paying for, the vehicle, whatever you're paying for, your net after that is $24,000 for each employee. And let's just say you have 2 of them. So you have $80,000 plus you have, let's say you netted, I think I said you're going to net about $70,000 a year. So you've essentially taken that $70,000 net income, added $24,000, and added another $24,000 to it. So you're at $118,000 a year net after all the taxes and everything, all your expenses. That more than pays for your health insurance, your retirement. You can definitely use that money to invest somewhere else and things of that nature. And this is why being self-employed is much better, because of the scalability of being self-employed. But let's say you don't really want to bring on employees because you feel like that's a headache. I don't really want to have people working for me. Then I got to deal with all the complaints and all the problems, and what they quit, I have to take over the pools. Yes, that does happen. That is the headache factor of being self-employed and having employees. That's something that you have to be willing to deal with and kind of develop those skills. And it's something that is a factor. You have to really consider that, hiring the right person. What if they don't show up for work? I had one member of my group where in the middle of summer, his pool tech texted him. He's like, "Hey, I quit. I just dropped off my truck in your driveway. I'll see you later." I mean, you got to take over the pools and deal with that. It's a big headache. And that is something to consider. Or you may hire an employee that you thought was good, and you find out he spends more time smoking and doing nothing than working. Yes, those are factors that make this part of the equation, and you got to think about that. I'm being realistic here. I'm not, in fairy tale land saying bring on 2 employees, you're going to make this much money, and you have nothing to worry about. In reality, it's hard to find good people, and you may not want to scale because you can't find anybody that does the job as well as you do. But there's other ways to scale your business. You can scale your business by charging more each year, by bringing on just a few more accounts, and by tightening your route and getting really good pools where you're not spending as much time at each pool and you're doing more pools per day. That's a great way to scale as well. So you have a tight route. You have pools that are what I call easy in and out pools, or splash and dash with class pools where you don't need to spend 25 minutes cleaning the pool, and you can maximize that way. You can also get commercial accounts, commercial pool service accounts. If you're CPO certified, or if you're county health license certified, or county certified for pool service. I'm not sure how I would phrase this, but in my area, LA County certifies you to do pool service in the county, or CPO certification. The funny thing is some counties want you to be certified in their county, even if you do have the CPO. But besides that, doing commercial pools is a great way to scale your business, and you can still pretty much be a single poler. You may want to bring on a part-time employee at some point, but if you're doing commercial pools, you're getting more money, and it's, of course, more headache, but it's more income, and you're just scaling your business just by doing that. And then, of course, you can scale by investing in things like real estate or small businesses that are easy to operate. There's a lot of pool pros that do this. I do real estate. I know some pool pros that like to buy coin laundry businesses where they have the machines there, and they just hire someone to get the coins and make sure everything's running correctly. And they make really good profit doing that. In fact, I know one that owns 3 of them right now, and that's a pretty good small business to own. Back in the day when they had a lot of vending routes available that were really good for pool service pros. I know a lot of pool pros bought, I know this sounds weird, but they bought payphone vending routes. They bought other kind of vending routes out there that are all gone now. So be careful about those particular businesses, the vending routes, because things change. And, are there any payphones out there anymore? I don't think so, but they used to sell routes of those back then that you can buy and manage. Also, vending machines in schools and things like that were a big hit for people that want to invest in a business like that. But the flexibility of your business, being able to set your schedule, set your time, allows you to be a real investor in these other avenues. Where if you're working a W-2 job and you're tied to your desk in the office, you really don't have the freedom to manage rental properties and scout out things and do things like that. So the scalability actually bleeds into other areas where, since you're free and have more time, you can maximize your investing as well. I think the bottom line is that no matter how you look at things, working for somebody is not ultimately something that is as fulfilling as having your own business. With all these downsides that I mentioned, there's some great upside potential as well. And if you're, doing a pros and cons paper, like should I quit my job at Nestle's and go out and get start a pool route? There's ways of doing both, starting while you're still working full time. And there's ways of doing it wrong, of course, where you quit your job and you think you can just jump into the pool industry. That's probably not the smartest thing to do. You have to really think about it. But if you are transitioning and if you are doing pool service and you're thinking about going to a W-2 job, really consider being tied down, being, in an environment where you don't have the freedom and flexibility that you have now, nor would you have the income potential of scaling your business either by bringing on employees, tightening your route, getting better pools, getting better rates for that, and increasing your income there, or scaling by doing other investments with your free time, because you will have more free time doing pool service than at a W-2 job. You're not going to be working technically 40 hours a week every week. You may only be working 30 hours a week with a full route if you have it set up correctly, which gives you a lot of free time to do other things and do other ventures with your time. So I think the bottom line is the freedom of self-employment far outweighs any drawbacks and any safety nets that you may have with a W-2 job. And I would say that 9 out of 10 times, if you have the business personality, I would definitely say, do your own business versus working for someone else. And if you're looking for other podcasts that I have, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, click on the podcast icon. That'll take you to a drop-down menu of other podcasts there. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.